All right, and welcome back to another episode of Johnny on the Track. And this one's a special one for me. It is actually the first ever NASCAR driver in a national NASCAR series that we are having on the show. You might know him as the fan vote winner on the Pro Invitational iRacing series that they do on weeknights, but he's a part-time NASCAR Truck Series driver with Riame Brothers Racing. He's been with them since 2018. And he was also a part-time Xfinity Series driver with MBM Motorsports and BJ McLeod Motorsports. So, Jesse, thank you, sir, for coming on. I appreciate it.
Yeah, most definitely. Thanks for having me on the show.
So let's get right into it. Let's go to your start, man. So you attended the Naval Academy, but let's go even before that. Talk to me about like the upbringing and how that shaped an interest in NASCAR. I heard something that when you were stationed in the Navy, that's when you kind of really started to drive cars.
Yeah.
But take me like early on.
Yeah. So before I even got to the Naval Academy, I'm originally from Dallas, Texas. So I grew up there. I played football there. Everyone knows in Texas, football is the biggest thing. So
Yep.
I worked really, I worked really, really hard to get better and better at football, so that eventually I could get recruited by some schools. And once I got to like my junior, senior year in high school, I started getting recruited by a few places, and one of them was the Naval Academy. So I just looked at it as a really good opportunity to go to a great school where I could play, great football, get a great education, and then when I graduate, be able to, pretty much have a career right there for me.
Right.
As an officer in the Navy. So I just took that opportunity, went to the Naval Academy, played there all 4 years, also ran track too while I was there. Graduated
Wow.
in 2000. Graduated in 2010. Became a surface warfare officer. So as a surface warfare officer, we're on the ships. I was on two different ships for my first 4 years in the Navy. One was a minesweeper, the other was an amphib. Went on two different deployments, and then in between my deployments and underway time, I was starting to really kind of grow this passion for cars and racing, because I've always liked cars, always liked racing,
Yeah.
but never really thought I could actually do it. And then, I was taking my personal cars to the local tracks near me. I was going to track days, doing these road course days, drag race days, all that stuff. And after a while, I was just like, you know what, I want to take this to the next level. And that's kind of what started launching me towards this whole NASCAR dream.
So, but prior to that, like early on in Texas, like, did
Mhm.
you ever like do like, racing like on a weekday or a weekend? Like, was that something, or was it like you just loved it and then later on you're just like, damn, I want to go do it? Like, talk to me about that.
My first time ever on a track to drive was in 2009 in a Chrysler 300 on a drag strip. That was it. Like I
So
had
how
never
old were you?
prior. At that point, 2009. How old was I? I don't know, like 22,
You're
22.
dude,
Yeah,
this is
22.
crazy.
Yeah,
Ah,
yeah. Yeah. No,
ah.
I never go karted prior to that. I mean, I'd go to K1 speed and stuff like that, but I never like competed in any kind of racing series and any kind of racing period prior to, really the first time I ever jumped wheel to wheel for a racing series was when I was racing late models in 2015. So, I started very late. Most drivers start when they're 5, 6, 7, 8 years old in go karts and work their way up. I didn't even see a go-kart till way later in life.
Dude, that is wild, but good for you that you were able to get to this point in your career. Like that's something special. And I apologize for my voice. I'm actually sick, which stinks. One of the biggest podcasts, I get sick. But anyway, so
Mhm.
talk to me about your time in the Navy. Are you still currently like stationed?
Yeah, so I'm still in the Navy right now. I'm in the reserves now. I was active duty from 2010 to 2017. I transitioned from active duty to the reserves towards the middle of 2017 because I knew I was really on this journey towards achieving all my racing goals in
Right.
NASCAR and starting getting my own businesses going in the right direction and all that stuff. So I knew I wanted to spend more time on that, but I didn't want to completely separate from the Navy. So I was like, what way can I part-time Navy and still go after my goals and dreams? And that was joining the reserves. So I went from full-time Navy to part-time Navy. I've been doing it the last 4 years now. I plan on doing it for another at least 9 years or so, and then from there, I'll retire from the military and keep chasing all the other stuff I'm doing.
That's awesome, man. And thank you for your service, obviously. And so
Yeah.
tell me about, the Naval Academy and the Navy, its strict regiment, its, guidelines and rules and all that. How do you think that prepared you, maybe like one physically, but also like mentally, and to be, an athlete, a professional athlete? Do you think that had like a positive impact? Talk to me about that.
Yeah, going to the Naval Academy, being in the Navy, all that stuff has had a very positive impact on me mentally and physically. It helped shape my mind to help me become a stronger person mentally. I know how to endure things. I know how to handle stress. I know how to get through tough times. I know that, any kind of journey you take, there's going to be little things that happen. Sometimes it's little, sometimes it's big. But I've learned how to endure through those things and stay strong enough, long enough so I can achieve the final goal, accomplish the mission. And I learned that at the Naval Academy. I learned it while being in the Navy. And I've been able to translate those skills over to what I'm doing in the civilian world, which is racing. So now in the racing world, when things happen, I'm able to get through it because I know how to get through things. I know how to cope with things. I know how to handle situations, and all this stuff. It just helps each other out.
I'm sure. I mean, like the pressure of, well, not the pressure, but just like the overall, mental toll that it takes, both in a car for 4 hours, sometimes plus, and then same thing. Being a part of the military, it's the same thing. So I totally hear you there. So let's talk full time racing. Obviously, you know, ha- have you been offered an opportunity to race full time yet?
Not yet, but I'm working on getting my own team together so I can just do it myself.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm not too worried about getting offered by anyone. I don't care. If they
Okay.
do, they do. But I want to get my own thing going. So that's the real goal.
So we're gonna see. So what you're telling me on this podcast is we're gonna see Jesse racing full time in NASCAR pretty soon.
Eventually, it's coming. When? Who knows? I just gotta keep grinding. I gotta put
Yes,
together
sir.
the funding, put together the resources, all that stuff.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And the fans are here for it. And talk about the fans, man. You seem to have a lot of them, one included right here. But dude, the fan vote. I mean, holy shit, you win it every week. Talk to me about like you know, how that feels to just hear your name called on a national stage and then being able to compete against the best drivers in the world, 35 plus of them. Talk to me about like what that means to you every week to get a chance.
Yeah, it's been pretty cool getting the opportunity to win the fan vote. I have a lot of people voting for me. And the funny thing is, it's not like just like NASCAR fans. Like it's funny because there's people who didn't vote for me who are like, "Hey, how'd he win?" None of my friends voted for him. And it's like, well, you got like 10 followers on Twitter. Like how many friends do you got? Like so people wonder like they forget that it's not just NASCAR fans that vote for me. I have
Right.
another world of people who really love all the stuff I'm doing, and it's called the military. So you put the word out to all my people. Who else are they going to vote for? For those who are questioning like how it's happening, that is one word: military. So that's big and helpful. And then a lot of NASCAR fans too have voted. I'm not saying like none have, like a lot have, but the extra support, I think that extra hump to kind of be able to win each one has mainly been through just military support. I got a lot of friends in the military, family members too. Also, I'm Nigerian by descent. I have a lot of family, a majority of my family is in Nigeria. So you put out the word to them and they tell everybody, all our cousins, uncles, their
Oh,
friends,
wow.
every, all of a sudden, you have a huge group of people, so that's how it happens. So it's been cool to get that support from everyone. Everyone loves it. And another thing that has kept everyone wanting to vote is because they all voted and then they saw that, hey, the first time we ended up winning and winning the fan vote, so the next time they voted again and won again, so now this keeps them wanting to vote because they
Right,
know that
right.
their vote is actually counting. And it's worked well. And then not only have they been voting, me being able to compete against all those cup drivers in iRacing has been cool because I'm getting to showcase my skills on a
Yeah,
on a
hell yeah,
level
man. You're doing well
level
out there.
yeah, level playing field. The best finishes I had were I had a top 10 and a top 12. It was cool to be like, hey, I finished ninth at Darlington, a track like that, super hard, and to race against all these folks, to outrun a bunch of them, I was pumped.
All right, so be honest. Are you at the point now where you're just like practicing iRacing because you're like, I gotta get ready for my next gig, man, or not yet? Where are we at there?
I mean I'm on iRacing usually at least 4 to 5 days a week.
Okay.
So I'm already on there no matter whether I was winning this thing or not.
All right.
I'm already
Good.
on there training. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I don't just get on just for this. I get on because it's good for me to train. I got to continue to get seat time. Got to learn tracks. Got to work on racecraft. Got to get better as a driver. So I'm on iRacing regardless whether I'm even. I mean I'll be on here after this. I'm gonna go work out and run. Then jump on the sim, spend like a little bit of time on there, and then keep on going about my evening.
That's awesome. That is awesome, and we're watching you. That's for sure. I think you've turned a lot of heads for sure. Like you said, a couple top tens and some good finishes. So good for you. Keep grinding. I want to talk about race, and you are one of, if correct me if I'm wrong, one of
Two.
two,
Yep.
yep, drivers, you and Bubba Wallace, in a national NASCAR series. So when you look around and you're surrounded by white drivers. There's a lot of white fans in the stands. What's the mindset for you when you're out on that track? Is it something extra with that? Talk to me about that.
For me, honestly, it doesn't bother me because you gotta look at where I come from, where I've been, all
Hmm.
that stuff, right? So for me, I'm from Dallas, Texas, and there's parts of Dallas, Texas that are majority African American, and
Right.
there's parts that are Hispanic, there's parts that are mainly Caucasian, there's parts that are mainly Asian, and then there's parts that have a really good mix. And I've been fortunate enough throughout my entire life, so at least when I lived there. I was always in the very mixed parts. I was never in like a majority this color or race or whatever people. It
Hmm.
was more, But then again, my parents also used to take us to a lot of events that were all like Nigerian events. So I got to be around people who were like my culture, and then be around people who were all different and all mixed breeds. So and then the schools I went to, a lot of them were like majority white and stuff,
Hmm.
but still had a good mix of people, so everyone was cool. And then going off to college, you go to the Naval Academy, it is majority white.
Right.
We do have diversity there. There is a mixture. It's just maybe not as much as it should be yet, but it's growing and it's changing. But I've always been around all different sorts of people. So for me, the race thing, like, never, it doesn't matter. I always present myself in a way that is respectful, professional, and I don't give people an opportunity to be weird to me. I'm just
Yeah,
gonna I'm
that's
just gonna
fair.
say I'm just gonna say weird.
No, no, that's I
Yeah.
agree.
So
That's a good way to put it. I agree.
yeah.
That's a good way to put it. And I think the stigma for so many years around NASCAR, and partly rightfully so, was that it was a white man's sport, and that was the
Mhm,
stigma. But it's changing, it's
mhm,
growing with guys like you, guys like Bubba, guys like even Suarez bringing a Hispanic community in. Like that's good for the sport. I don't care what anybody says. Our
yeah.
sport needs to continue to grow. 2311 bringing Michael Jordan on. I mean,
Yeah.
the sport is about growing, and you hear all the you probably see it, you're on Twitter and Instagram, NASCAR is a dying sport. Like, all right, check the TV numbers and check like all these teams coming in, tell us it's a
Yeah.
dying sport to our face. we'll get at you with that, right?
Yeah, yeah, no, people are crazy. I mean, it's just you can't look at the haters on Twitter and
Yeah.
even Facebook and all that stuff. They're just always going to be there. I for the longest time I started thinking, I'm like, dude, I don't know if maybe there's an organization out there that just like creates a bunch of bots just to go and be negative on
I've
these,
always,
you
dude,
know,
I have
like
that same theory that like they
it's
just
somebody,
know like it doesn't even matter like political
yeah,
affiliation. Like they're gonna
yeah,
throw them on either side and just
yeah.
like go at it. Dude, I agree with that.
It's crazy. It's crazy. I see some of these comments like it could be NASCAR driver saves a baby from a burning fire, or falling out of a building, and someone's still gonna go in there. A group of people can go in there. NASCAR sucks. NASCAR is
Right.
dying. Like, where did that come from? This is a guy saving a baby who was, in a fire. Where did that come? It just it's crazy, but I just don't look at it anymore. I honestly, even Twitter, I like rarely get on Twitter. I get on and I'll post real quick and I'll
Mm-hmm.
get right off because Twitter is a very negative place.
Whew.
Um, Facebook can be, Instagram is better, and whatever other platforms. LinkedIn's great.
I agree. And I've tried to with this podcast, and I have a Twitter for this podcast, and I forgot if I reached out via my own Twitter or the podcast Twitter, but I try to, keep it as unbiased as possible. Like
Mhm,
I don't want to negatively say anything to drivers,
mhm.
or say this driver stinks because to
Yeah.
me, you guys are driving at the highest level. So
Oh yeah.
none of you freaking stink. That is
Yeah.
that's for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
So, I might certain drivers might appeal to me more for
Mhm.
certain things, but in the end, like I appreciate the sport, I appreciate the athletes, how hard they work, how hard they train. To me, like I try to avoid that kind of thing of putting opinions on. And the funny thing is, I'll ask a question like, who do you think's winning tonight? And someone will always find a way. Well, it certainly won't be this guy, and
No.
it's like, man, I just asked, like, who do you think's winning? Like, show
Yeah.
support for your drive. Like, I don't know,
Yeah.
man. But like you said, it's crazy, and everybody out there has something to say. Sometimes it's positive, sometimes it's negative. But
Yeah. Yeah. It
most times
happens.
it seems to be negative.
Yeah, no, it happens. You just gotta weed through it and, understand that some of these people who are gonna be super negative, they don't have a ton going on in their
Right,
life.
right. So let me ask you this. Let's go 5 years. Where does Jesse Wuji see himself?
5 years,
5 years.
racing full time in the
All
Cup
right.
Series, with my own team, and racing for wins and racing for championships. That's my 5 year plan right there. Is it easy? Nope. Is it gonna happen very simple? Nope. But we're gonna grind and we're gonna do what I can to make it happen. And at the end of the day, you shoot for the stars because even if you miss, you'll land. Or sorry, you shoot for the moon because even if you miss, you'll land amongst the stars.
I hear that, and I mirror that because I started this podcast, I don't know, like 6 months ago, and I told myself I'm gonna get a NASCAR driver on this podcast. I'm gonna start small. I'm gonna start with no followers, no subscribers, um, but through like hard work and keep keep reaching out and trying and sharing content so people can say, you know what, maybe I should give this kid a chance. Maybe I should go on. And so, like I said, this is a huge moment for me. So I really thank you for coming on. Like this means a lot. So with that being said, we always play a little game on Johnny on the Track. And so this game, it's pretty simple. It doesn't have a name, but we're gonna get to learn a little bit more about Jesse. So I'm gonna shoot quick questions.
Hmm.
Favorite food, favorite whatever. You got to give us quick, like less than 3 to 5 second answers. All right.
All right.
All right. Let's see. Let's see how long it takes. I'm gonna do a little timing here. Let me get up the timer. All right. You ready?
Yeah.
All right. Let's do it. So here we go. This is called. What are we calling this, Jesse? You got a name for this?
The rapid fire.
All right, the rapid fire. All right, here we go. Favorite food.
Pho.
Favorite movie.
Fast and Furious, stay
Okay.
fast.
Favorite athlete.
Usain Bolt.
Favorite video game.
Need for Speed, Most Wanted.
Favorite season, fall, spring, summer.
Uh, Fall.
Okay. Favorite NASCAR track.
Sonoma.
Ooh, favorite superhero.
Black Panther.
Favorite villain.
Thanos.
Ooh, least favorite NASCAR track.
What's that least favorite? I don't know. Colorado Raceway or Speedway, and it's a 3rd mile oval.
Okay. Best fast food.
Whataburger.
Favorite sport to watch.
Besides racing, football.
Best beverage.
Coca-Cola.
Best pump up song.
Anything by Future with Drake.
Okay. Favorite music artist. Same thing.
Same thing.
Favorite NASCAR driver that's not Jesse Iwuji.
Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Okay. And favorite podcast.
Favorite podcast. Bigger Pockets Real Estate Podcast.
Okay. I set you up there to say Johnny on the track, but I'm not going to be offended. I'm not going to be. There's
It's
a lot
a really
going
good
on.
podcast. It's a really good
quick
one.
answers, so I get it. Jesse, thank you for coming on. I really appreciate it. What'd you think of that game? I think you did pretty well. You did like a minute, 15 seconds.
Yeah, no, it's pretty good. No, it was some good questions, solid ones.
All right, good. I think we got to learn a little bit more about Jesse. He wants to take on, what was it, Sonoma?
Sonoma, yeah, it's a fun track. I just wish it was during a cooler part of the year, like in the fall or something. That would be awesome. I think it'd be beautiful to have a fall race there. But yeah.
Look at that. See, he wants a fall race because he
Mhm.
loves fall. See, we're learning
Yeah.
everything we need to know about Jesse.
The racing
Jesse,
season,
again,
February, March, October, November is the best part of the racing season. Anything else?
I agree with you. I feel like I think they strategically put some of these tracks too where they are, like New
Mhm.
Hampshire in the heat of the summer, where people are like probably enjoying a night out. Not
Yeah.
many people want to watch New Hampshire, and that's tough for me because that's my home track. I got tickets, but I mean, we got to be honest here. Like, not many people are watching New Hampshire Motor Speedway, and they strategically put it right in the middle of the summer when people got better things to do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, man, thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it. Like I said before, first NASCAR driver right here. So I'm going to be a fan for life. I promise you that. I'm going to be rooting for you. I hope to see you on your own team. I don't know what it'll be called, but I'll know, when it comes. So thank you again.
Yeah, well, definitely. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, for sure. Take care, man.
Yeah, you too.